We're ready.
Okay, so Dana, he tweaked his calf and came out. But other than that, had a good turn. I got some guys back today.
Operation has been completed.
For the players. All in all, I'm happy with where we're going here. Need to keep working and work our way through it. It's training camp, so we're adding things, testing them mentally and physically, and they're coming out with good energy. Tomorrow we have our practice in the stadium. Look forward to opening that up to the fans and giving them an opportunity to see, and also kind of get the mechanics of game day down. So we'll function like that as a staff. All stay on the same sideline and come out of the tunnel and so on. The things that the guys don't have a chance to do during preseason games. So all in all, it'll be beneficial. It'll be beneficial for for Mark Donovan and his crew to be able to set the stadium up and go through that procedure. A good dry run for everybody. So anyways, with that, time's yours.
Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks.
We're talking to Juan today, and Juan Thornhill. I'm wondering, from your perspective, how did he attack this thing in terms of his rehab, and also, especially late in the season, second half of the season, what did you see from his progression as a rookie?
Yeah, I thought Juan got better every week, and he's a talented kid. It was just a matter of getting out and doing it, and every week he improved, and so I know he's looking forward to getting back in there and playing. He's been able to ramp up here a little bit and get a little work the last couple of days, so that's good. He attacked the whole procedure with the knee. His rehab, he came with energy every day and worked like crazy to get that back, and here he stands, so it's strong and he's working hard.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, how you doing today?
I'm good, Adam. Thank you.
Good. Hey, a couple things, Andy. First, do you have a sense on when Tyreek Hill will be back to practice? And secondly, your defense made a good number of plays today. Everybody knows what your offense can do when it's rolling. So do you like to see that when your when your defense stands up and makes its share of plays on a day like this?
Absolutely. The better we are on both sides of the ball in special teams, the better football team will be. So I love the fact that they're challenging. They're going back and forth. Great energy. We're getting a lot of works with ones versus ones, which I think is important. And they're pushing through and challenging each other every play, which does nothing but make you better. And then what was your other part there? Oh, Tyreek. So Tyreek, it's day to day. It's not a big tear or any of that. It's just, but it'll be a few days. We'll ease him back in, and he got great work here the first part of camp. So
let's go to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hope you're doing well. In reference to the decision that the club put out yesterday to kind of ban Native American imagery on fans inside the stadium, I'm curious if you had the opportunity to be a part of the conversations the organization had between Native American groups, and what's your thoughts on where the decision as a whole?
Yeah, well, our Native American brothers. I mean, I appreciate them, and we listen, like I said before. So I wasn't a huge part of that, but I was talked to about it and coached up on it. So I understand and listen. It's that time, and Clark does a great job with that, as Mark Donovan does, in listening and making changes as needed. So, but listen, we appreciate again our Native American brothers. I mean, absolutely.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, good to see you. I have two questions for you. Nick Keiser's getting a lot of reps. Just how beneficial is that for him to get both reps with guys like Chad Henne and Patrick Mahomes as you sort of evaluate him without the preseason? And then secondly, to build off what Aaron's question just a minute ago, in terms of the team's decision, just how much had this been discussed over the last year or so within regards to obviously what the sort of tone is being changed culturally and trying to better listen to Indigenous people? And how much were you a part of the process, if at all, with Clark and Mark in terms of discussing what the team may want to do with fans moving forward?
Yeah, so they listen, that's not my area, although they talked to me about it. So I understand. I just like the fact that Mark and Clark, they're willing to listen and willing to work on things, and they don't waste time with that. I mean, it's I love that part. So and then your other part, yeah, we'll just keep getting better in that area. You know what you were saying. So
Let's go to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
You know, Coach, between OTAs and the ramp-up period and the acclimation period this year, you know, you're probably short about 15 to 20 practices of what you would normally have. Do you find yourself just doing the exact same things, but just spending less time, or are there things that you cut from the routine that you would do in most years you just can't do this year?
Well, you don't get a lot of repeats on situations. So you try to make sure that you have them all covered. Utilize your walkthroughs that you have in the afternoon, and make sure you're there. You make sure your film study is complete, which can be tough during camp with the number of plays that we run. So, but you in the meetings and everything else that's involved with it. So, but you want to make sure that you cover all of that, and you do. You listen. You lose opportunities of not only including the off season, but also during this time here. But the mental part, you got guys have to stay sharp, coaches and players, and make sure we have everything covered.
Let's go to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Just two quick questions here for you. We get Ben Niemann here shortly, and I'm curious, what's been his biggest step from last year to this year, as you had a chance to evaluate him over 7 days of practices? And lastly, I'm sorry if I didn't hear you say what was going on with Jarius Sneed. We didn't see him out there today, so what's his status?
Yeah, Jarius, we just rested him. He had a little tweak, so we rested him. So with the other, what was the other part, Herbie? I mean, you guys are like double dipping me here. You guys
on Ben Niemann. What was the biggest step you've seen?
Yeah,
from him?
yeah. So I think he's put on strength over the year, and I thought that was big for him. So Ben has got a great football mind. He coaches kid, that whole thing, and but the physical strength, I think he's added to that. I think he's probably more familiar with the scheme, obviously, as I think all the defensive players are. But for him personally, I think he's gotten a little bit stronger.
All right, guys, we got time for a couple more. Let's go Pete and then Seren. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. It kind of struck me yesterday with Coach Tobe that it's going to be a lot tougher with the roster decision making, and I know you leave that to Brett Veach. But is there going to be almost a natural inclination that you may have to fight by, in keeping veterans, since you can see some game tape? I just wonder how that factors in from like roster numbers 49 to 53.
Yeah. So one thing Brett does is a great job of communicating with the coaches. He's always talking to them, and we meet at night and we grade the players. We grade them every play. So whether it's special teams and or offense and defense. So we'll come out with a pretty good idea. It's still early now, but every practice, every rep becomes important. We talk to the players about that your tape ends up being important in this time. We don't have a chance to see in games and with the preseason game. So you've got to show on these other phases here. And it's no more important than on special teams. Normally you have two, three guys that make it on special teams just because of their play there, but you don't have that opportunity to be in a game and do that.
Let's go to Seren with the last one. Go ahead, Seren.
Coach, sorry to double dip on you here. My first one will be housekeeping. Just kind of, can you give us, we heard a Mike Pennell suspension. Can you give us any details on the Pennell, what was said earlier several days ago on that, and any update on Eric Fisher? That's the housekeeping part. And then from a coaching standpoint, I was looking back at like strike seasons, right? Other seasons that have been disrupted weren't just your normal. I know how you coaches are creatures of habits and you have your counter like all 365 days. And like Bill Parcells kind of struggled in those years. He didn't have his best records in those years. Marv Levy had been building something here in Kansas City, and he tumbled down to like a 3-6 or 2-7 record and ended up ending his tenure here in Kansas City. Those are obviously, Hall of Fame caliber coaches. I mean, do you study those years? Do you have any idea what the landmines ended up being for those guys? Or does the strike season have no comparison to what you guys are dealing with right now?
Well, this is what I think the difference is, and I'm not predicting records. I'm not doing that, but I'll tell you that here we've been able to communicate with the players. So when the lockout took place, I was a head coach at that time, and we weren't able to talk to the players. And the players knew that it was going to be for an extended period of time. And, I joked about it, but some guys traveled the world, so this was different. These guys were on the WebEx calls every day, 3 to 4 times a week. And we knew what they were doing. We knew they were working out. And then we were able to see what kind of shape they were in with the ramp up period that we had. And a lot of that was set up from what took place, with the lockout, with the union. So, but we had the ramp up period. So now again, you get an opportunity to see what kind of shape they were in. They came back in good football shape, or good shape. And then it was a matter of getting them into football shape. And that's where we're at now. But it was a completely different situation. I thought, again, I'm not predicting records or anything else, or, none of us know what happens in the future here, but it's, that I can tell you is different. Yeah.
And then the Pinnell and Fisher.
Yeah, I don't know. Has that been? There's nothing been announced on that, so I don't really have anything to say on that. Yeah, I mean, once it gets announced, then I'll comment on it, but I don't have anything. Okay,
Coach, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Yep, good. Thanks.
All right, guys, hang tight. We got Mecole coming up next, I believe. All right, guys, we got Mecole coming up. If you guys want to throw your hands up, you should be walking in the room now. Hey, Mecole, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, well, let's get started. We'll start with Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, what's up, Mecole?
Good, it's good.
The coaches have talked a lot about your off-season work. I'm just wondering, what was the concentration of that work? What specifically were you trying to work on?
Fundamentals, different, like different releases, getting better at the line with my hands, top of route, I know I can go deep. I know I can run a deep ball very well, but it's more trying to become a more complete receiver, and the intermediate routes, the short game, and try to improve on that area.
Let's go to Steve Walls. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Entering your second year into the league, man, where do you feel like you have improved the most? And also, how important has Tyreek been in motivating and pushing you to be a better player?
Yeah, I think more so just my confidence. I think I'm more confident in the system and what Coach Reid got in place, and I think I'm more improved being a more overall receiver instead of just like a deep threat. So I think I can run the intermediate routes now well, and just keep it improving on that. And like you said, having Tyreek in my corner and having him watch him work and what he's been doing over the last 4 years, man, it's a great motivator. So I can get to the level that he at, and I strive every day to try to be as good as him.
Let's go to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Okay. I just feel like once you win one, you want another one. I feel like that's kind of like the motivator. You can't get complacent in what you did the last year because obviously nobody's not talking about last year no more. It's over. It's a whole new season. So I think it's just more so the guys that surround you, the guys that that been here for a long time, on that got one just like me. I think how they motivate us throughout practice and having that target on our back is a motivator to us, like to show everybody it wasn't a fluke, that we can do it again, we can go back to back. And but yeah, it's kind of like it definitely that's probably like the hardest thing is like trying to stay humble and keep the motivation going, because you can't get complacent, especially if you want win one, and but I think the whole team motivated. I think Coach Reid doing a great job in keeping us motivated and knowing what's at stake and knowing that we can go get this thing again.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Mecole, we are like 1 year since that joke thing came out where Pat had told you to keep running, and you've grown so much since then. And I'm just wondering now, the year later, looking back to that, in your own words, how much has your chemistry grown with Patrick Mahomes?
It's growing. It's continuing to grow. My job is, just to play my role, do my role, and do that well. And I think we continue to gain trust, but it's my job to gain trust from Pat. We got a lot of weapons on the field, so the more he can trust me, and the more offense it can be. So more potent it can be. So I'm just trying to just do my job, man, and catch every ball, come out way, take advantage of every opportunity, and keep running.
Let's go to Seren Petra. Go ahead, Seren.
Mecole, I'm curious. You talked about some of the things you worked on, and we've talked to a number of the rookies. Like, looking back on it now, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? Like, what is it, or what work are you able to get done now that maybe in getting ready for the draft, spending so much time in the off season for the draft, that you were able to go back and get done now that you couldn't do last year, just year 2 versus year 1?
Actually get like in football shape. I think when you coming out for college, you focus on like the 40 and just routes. You're really not in that football shape. And I think when you get to like the rookie mini camp or like the OTAs, you kind of realize like I'm really not in shape. I thought I was in shape, but I'm not. So this offseason, you can really focus on more of like realistic situations and running more routes, and doing things that are going to translate to the practice when you get there. So it can help you, keep your lungs open, keep running a little bit more, running some half gashers or whatever that may be. So I think learning from that and learning to actually get in football shape definitely is a big helper coming into like this year.
Let's go. We got 2 more. Let's go Nate Taylor and then Herbie. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Mecole, I'm interested on going from not only just year 1 to year 2, but just seeing Andy's playbook and understanding it. Now seeing some of the new stuff that you guys are doing in camp so far, just what is that experience like to understand you're playing all 3, wide receiver positions, but there's new plays that you guys are sort of building off of what you saw last year?
It's pretty much, it's easier because once you've been through that year with the playbook and knowing the plays and being familiar with the plays, especially at all 3 positions, then when the new players come in, it's like more of like, okay, I kind of got a grasp of this concept. So it's not as hard to learn it. So I think what we got in, the plays that's coming in, I think it's like familiar. It's new, but it's familiar, and it's kind of a little more easier to, to learn it. So now it's like, okay, I know what you want out of this route because I've seen this route, but I know exactly what you're looking for. And that's how we go through it. That's how we approach it. And then when the new players come in, we just attacking it like it's an old play, and then try to put it on film and see what we need to do from it.
Let's finish up with Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Mecole. Hey, we've all obviously know what Patrick Mahomes can do with a football, but I'm curious because we saw that sidearm throw today to Demarcus Robinson with it looked like there was no window. But as a wide receiver, do you ever find yourself just watching that and being a fan of some of those throws?
I think sometimes you could be like, yeah, man, he make it look so easy, But I think we see it so much, we see it every day. It's just kind of normal to us. And but you don't really want to be like a fan of it because it might come your way and you be like, oh man, he threw a pass like this and you drop it, and you might not get a pass again. So like, I don't think we try to be wild. We probably more of like, hey, good throw and just going by business because we're expecting to make throws like that. The sidearms, the no looks, the deep balls down the field. Like we expect them to do that. We see it every day. So to us, to receivers, ain't nothing new. It's just for us to go catch the ball and make something happen with it.
Mecole, we appreciate you. Thank you for the time today.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys, hang tight, and we're going to get you Ben Niemann up next. All right, we got Ben Niemann coming up next. Ted, can you tilt our camera up just a little bit?
No. I'm a little taller than Mecole.
A little bit. There we go.
All right.
Can you hear us okay, Ben?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're ready to get started. Let's start with Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Ben, hope this finds you well. You're getting a lot of work over the last week, and I'm curious. Coach Reid said earlier today that one of the things that stands out to him is your strength level compared this year to last year. But I'm curious, what do you think has been your biggest jump from 2019 to 2020 to help set you up for a lot of the work you're getting now?
Yeah, I think just being in the second year in Spag system, I feel more comfortable. And then, in college, I didn't play in the box. I wasn't an in the box linebacker. Then my rookie year, we were in a 3-4 scheme, which, was totally different night and day than what we're in now. So, just last year and this year have kind of been my first, 2 years of experience as a true inside, 4-3 linebacker. So I think just that being more comfortable in the scheme. So.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Ben, good to see you, man. Have two quick questions for you. In going from year one to year two, what makes Steve Spagnuolo a good teacher to help you understand the system better based on your experience last year? And from your perspective, given he was with you guys all of last year on the practice squad, just what are you seeing from Nick Keizer that has impressed you so far in camp?
Yeah, with Coach Spags, I think, being in year two of the scheme now, we're just trying to dive deeper, understanding the full call. Last year, year one, you're kind of getting your assignment down and just trying to be in the right place and get a line right and, make plays. Now, just having a full grasp of everything, knowing what guys around you are doing, knowing, why he's calling these calls in certain situations and what the strengths and weaknesses are of these calls and, who you have around you and how you use other guys. In terms of Keizer, he's been productive. He's doing a great job. He's gotten a lot of reps this camp and he's taking advantage of them. So, he's a fun guy to compete against.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Ben, I had you down for about, 36% of defensive snaps last year. I'm wondering how much work went into this off the field last year to better prepare you to be able to step into this role and play as fast as you're playing right now.
Yeah. Just getting in my book, trying to learn as many spots as possible so I can plug in and, play wherever they need me to. Lineup shuffle, things change. Guys come in, guys leave, guys get hurt. So just being able to plug and play kind of, wherever. And this offseason, just, tried to attack everything in terms of working out, the playbook, all that. So
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Ben, how you doing today?
good. How are you?
Good. Hey, are there things you're seeing in practice that lead you to believe the Chiefs will get off to a better start defensively this year than maybe you did last year?
I mean, that's the goal. We're just trying to get better every single day, improve every day. I think we definitely feel, more comfortable in this scheme. We will feel more comfortable week one, this year compared to last year. That just, comes with reps and experience and, learning the more, fine details of this scheme. So, we're looking forward to week one and we want to play fast. So
let's go to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Ben, obviously your alma mater has been in the news a lot. Your head coach up there at Iowa has been in the news a lot. It hasn't all been positive. I'm just curious, what was your experience like at Iowa, and what was your reaction when you heard, one, the strength coach being let go, and some of the things that are being said by some of the African-American players that are on the team and have been on the team?
Yeah, and with my brother and dad being both a part of that program, it kind of, hit close to home. But my experience at Iowa was great. I know other people didn't have the same experience for me, and I definitely don't want to take away from, anything anybody else has experienced or said, because everybody has their own experience and has, their own 4 years. So I think, I'm excited for the program moving forward. I think a lot of things that people felt have been brought to light, and I think, that can be used as positive change, and it can just take us to another level. So I'm excited for what the future holds.
Let's go to Matt Derrick to close us out. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Ben, I'm curious, what you've seen so far from Willie Gay, and, when there's going to be opportunities for him to be on the field, maybe with you and Anthony and Damian, what do you just see as overall as, the potential of that group with what Willie might be able to bring to you?
Yeah, Willie's doing a great job. He's definitely a talented kid. And he's been fun to have in the room. He brings it every day, and he's a great teammate, got a fun personality. So excited for this year and, what he can do to help the defense out for sure.
Ben, thank you for taking the time today. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, guys, hang tight, and we're going to get Juan up next. All right, guys, we got Juan coming up here next.
I'm good.
Hey, Juan, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, well, we'll get started here. Let's start with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Juan, welcome back. I was curious, you went through the injury last year, and pretty soon after on social media and otherwise, just the way you would carry yourself, you turned pretty quickly to positivity, like very, very fast. I just was wondering how you were drawn to that feeling so fast and how that sort of pushed you through and being able to return for camp.
So with the ACL injury, it's very stressful, just being completely honest. And then I was just talking to Tyron about the 2 ACL surgeries that he had, and he was like, the main thing is just being positive. So that's like the first thing I wanted to do is just be positive throughout this whole process, because if you're not positive, it's going to slow down your healing process. So I just wanted to stay positive and try to lift up my teammates as they were going through the playoffs. So I didn't want to be that guy to be a cancer in the locker room whenever they heard from me and I was always down. I wanted to just be there to lift them up.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Juan, welcome back. Couple things real quick. Can you give us a sense of when you think you'll be ready to do some team type activities? And also take us briefly, if you could, through the rehab, just what the emotions were when you maybe first thought, okay, I'm going to make it back, that kind of thing.
I'm not really sure when I'll get full go. I'm just trying to stack good days through individuals, just work through the pain a little bit, and just hopefully I can get back out there soon. But throughout the whole rehab process, Rick and Julie, they did a heck of a job. I came in back from Dallas after my surgery, and we pretty much jumped right into it. We had to get that range of motion, build up the strength. And once we got that, I started to get a little bit more mobile on the field. And I started to feel like it was about time for me to at least get back out there with my teammates and start moving around the individual drills. And if we keep on doing that, hopefully I can get back out there soon.
Let's go to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Juan. How much do you feel like you're able to do now? And I guess, how do you sort of guard against trying to do too much and staying on the pace that your trainers have set out for you?
See, the thing is, I'm not really thinking too much about just trying to stay on pace. While I'm out there, I know that I'm doing individuals, so my mind is strictly just focused on doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not thinking about the knee. I'm trying to just move as much as I can and work through it, like I said before. But that's pretty much all I've been doing, and hopefully I can get back out there.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Juan, I hope you're doing well, man. My 2 questions are, what do you feel like you got and gained the most out of the postseason experience, not playing, right, but just seeing the process up close as much as you could, and being, helping the team obviously be in position to obviously have success in the postseason and watching them win the Super Bowl? And then what did you see of yourself on tape last year that once you're fully healthy, you can sort of improve on and sort of show differently based on what you learned in Spagnuolo's defense?
Starting off, I was a little rusty, just being completely honest, just making those rookie mistakes, just giving up plays that I shouldn't be giving up. And I definitely watch every single game, and I could just see myself progressing each game. I got better each game, each week. And that's the biggest thing with me. Just once I get back, just pick up where I left off and don't move backwards, move forwards, and keep getting better and stacking those good days. And me watching, I was in Dallas watching the Tennessee game and Houston game, and I was really happy for my team, but it just made me more determined and more hungry, just because I wasn't being able to play in the playoffs with my teammates. And then definitely when I was at the Super Bowl watching, it was I was so happy, but at the same time, it was eating me alive, just thinking okay, 3 weeks ago I was healthy. I could have been playing out there with my teammates on that field. This is my dream. I want to play in the Super Bowl. But I'm definitely happy that my team won, and it just made me more determined for this season to come back and pick up where I left off.
Looks like we've got 4 hands up. We'll go right down the line. Let's start with Harold. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Juan, as someone who has torn his ACL myself, I got to tell that's pretty commendable for you to come back. I'm just curious during that process, because usually it's about a year before you really feel like you get to that your true athletic self. What was it like for you? What was the most difficult part for you going through that whole process? I think you mentioned a little bit, Nate, but what's just that most difficult part for you going through the whole process just medically, and then also, now that you're coming back, what's the most difficult part of you trying to ramp back up to what you feel is your athletic self?
The most difficult part, honestly, was just like staying positive, just because of the part that it was like you were constantly doing the same thing over and over, and guys tend to just like start to shut down after you do it after a month or 2 months or 3 months. But that was like definitely the hardest part for me, and also just working through that pain. But once I got back on the field, I feel like things just started to get so much better. So I mean, that was pretty much the hardest part for me.
Go to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
So with the teammates, they knew that I was like progressing pretty well, but they wasn't sure exactly when I was going to get back on the field. I kind of kept it to myself. But then like I just randomly like just threw on my shoulder pads and stuff one day, and it was like, oh, they were really shocked that I was coming back out there. But it seemed like they were really excited to see me move. Coach Merritt and Coach Spags, it seemed like they were really excited as well. But I mean, it was a great feeling to be out there. And the thing is, like I said, like with me not being out there, it just made me really hungry. Like I've never felt this hungry before. Like I was really hungry coming into the NFL, but with me not being able to play in the playoffs, like I feel like I let my team down. Like, and I just like I can't let myself just fall back, because I have to pick up where I left off and take off. And hopefully I can help my teammates get back to the Super Bowl. Hopefully I can play in this last one.
Last two, let's go Steve and then Seren. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Juan, welcome back, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I know you were going through rehab, but I know you also know that you saw some of the moves that Brett Veach has been able to make as far as getting guys deals. How much confidence does that give you, knowing that as long as you continue to do the right things on the field and off the field, that the organization will take care of you when it's your time?
I'm not really focused on the deals as of right now. I'm just focused on day by day, getting back on the field, pushing myself to become a better player. And then hopefully when that time comes, I mean, something good will happen, but I'm not really focused on that right now.
Let's go to Seren to close it out. Go ahead, Seren.
Juan, a couple things here. First of all, you used the word hungry for yourself. And generally speaking, teams that have gone to back-to-back Super Bowls, they turn over 6 to 8 starters. You guys are bringing back, theoretically, all 22, right? Everyone says 20, but Wiley was a starter earlier in the year. You were a starter earlier in the year. That's really the whole everyone back. You're the guy who didn't get a play in it. Do you feel like you're going to have to maybe, drive the guys and be the one that says, hey, I want to be on the field for it. And if anybody lets down, that you're going to be the guy that speaks up for them. And then secondarily, you were talking about, you kind of gave a timeline of how you saw yourself getting better. And maybe being a rookie, that you didn't have time to kind of maybe take in the whole forest, right? Do you remember seeing the defense turn the corner? And when you felt like it was clicking for everybody else, and what it was that kind of got you guys over the hump and in that stretch run in that second half when you were playing so well?
At the beginning of the season, we were trying to learn the defense. Guys were trying to figure out how to play together. We tried to figure out what were guys' strengths and weaknesses. And then like midpoint in that season, we started to click because of the guys started to know the strength. Like, for example, like me playing beside Tyron, I didn't know what he was good at, and I didn't know what he was bad at. But then once we start playing multiple weeks together, we start to get that feel that like, okay, I know that he's going to do this. And we started making more plays because we were confident in what our teammates could do.
And the other part is just about like being hungry, like the team being hungry, right? Like if anybody's a little complacent because you're going to get your ring, but they all were out there. Do you feel like it's going to be your job to maybe crack the whip on some guys?
I've been out there a couple of days watching the team. I don't even feel like there's any guys that's pretty much living on last year. That's last year. This is a new season. So I feel like everyone's still hungry. We're determined to get back. And if there is someone that's maybe falling off or starting to slack off just because we are Super Bowl champions, yes, I will step up because of the fact I see myself as a leader as well, even though this is my second year in the NFL.
Juan, we appreciate the time today. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, guys, that is it for today. We're going to have, let me get you all the ability to